Gaura. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, we're continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 6. We have been hearing about Saubhari Muni. Was a yogi, great yogi, meditating, got the desire to get married to 50 wives, made himself look so beautiful, had a lot of opulence, had 100 sons from each wife, had so much sense gratification that in spite of so much sense gratification, he was not feeling satisfied. He was in fact feeling disgusted. He said, I was doing so much austerity and I fell down because of bad association. He said, I associated with a fish and so I fell down. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this because of the offense he committed at the lotus feet of Garud. And that's why he fell down from his austerity. So then he's decided, okay, I'm going to give up everything. He says material desires are never ending. Like a fire, you keep pouring fuel into it. The fire will continuously burn. His material desires are like that. So he's gone to the forest. Vanaprastha and his wives have followed him. So we're going to continue. Tatra taptva tapas tikshnam
Tatra
Tatra
taptva
taptva
tapastikshanam
tapastiksnam
atma darshanam atmavan
atma
atma
darshanam
darshanam
atmavan
atmavan
sahev agnibir atmanam
saha eva
Sahayoganir
atmanam
atmanam
yuyoja paramatmani.
yuyoja
Yuyoja
paramatmani.
paramatmani.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When Saubhari Muni, who was quite conversant with the self, went to the forest, he performed severe penances. In this way, in the fire at the time of death, he ultimately engaged himself in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the time of death, fire burns the gross body, and if there is no more desire for material enjoyment, the subtle body is also ended, and in this way a pure soul remains. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. If one is free from the bondage of both the gross and subtle material bodies and remains a pure soul, he returns home back to Godhead to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. He goes back home, back to Godhead. Thus it appears that Saubhari Muni attained that perfect stage. So Saubhari Muni, he went to the forest, he continued to perform his austerities, penances, and he had no material desire, no more material desire, so he went home back to Godhead. This way his subtle body was also purified. At death, what happens? Normally, that our gross body gets finished, but our subtle body, the soul goes with the subtle body to the new gross body, with all the desires that are there. But here, Saubhari Muni, he has no more material desires. And so the pure soul, he went back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Tasva Patyur Maharaja
Tasvapatyu
Tasvapatyu
maharaja
Maharaja
Nirikshya Dhyatmikim Gatim
nirikshaya
Nirikshadhyatmikim
adhyatmikim gatim
gatim
Anviyustat Prabhavena
anviyustat
Anviyustat
prabhavena
prabhavena
Agnim Shantam Ivarichaha
agnim
Agnim
shant
Shantim
ivarchitaha.
Arishit.
O Maharaj Parikshit, by observing their husband progressing in spiritual existence, Saubhari Muni's wives were also able to enter the spiritual world by his spiritual power, just as the flames of a fire cease when the fire is extinguished. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Te api yanti param gatim. Women are not considered very powerful in following spiritual principles. But if a woman is fortunate enough to get a suitable husband who is spiritually advanced, and if she always engages in his service, she also gets the same benefit as her husband. Here it is clearly said that the wives of Saubhari Muni also entered the spiritual world by the influence of their husband. They were unfit, but because they were faithful followers of their husband, they also entered the spiritual world with him. Thus, a woman should be a faithful servant of her husband, and if the husband is spiritually advanced, the woman will automatically get the opportunity to enter the spiritual world. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Downfall of Saubhari Muni. So Saubhari Muni went to the spiritual world. His wives were chaste, although they were not doing any spiritual advancement themselves. But because they were faithful to Saubhari Muni, it's because they served him so nicely. So he went to the spiritual world, and because of his power, they also could go to the spiritual world. So that's why in Vedic times, the women, they were the man would be spiritually advanced, and the wife would assist the husband in his spiritual activities, and in this way both of them would go back home, back to the spiritual world. Any comments? Questions? So we can see Saubhari Muni, he was doing austerity, he got material desire, he got distracted, but somehow he was able to understand again, oh, why did I give up all my austerities, you know? My goal was to go back home to Godhead. Then he says that those who want to get out of this material world should find the association of people who are similarly inclined or stay secluded, but don't get the bad association, he says. And then he's gone back to the forest, did penances. His wife are faithful, they followed him. So he's gone back to Godhead, and his wives have also gone with him. Okay. So if no
One
comments.
question.
Yeah.
What if the wife is spiritual, very spiritual? Does the husband get a chance also, the
So,
opportunity?
certainly, yeah.
Yes, it's
Yes.
both ways, right?
Yeah, certainly he gets an opportunity also, because she will also engage him in service then.
Um,
Hare
he has to
Krishna.
be faithful.
It is
Right?
in the it is written in the Shastra that if the husband performs any spiritual deeds, then 50% goes directly to the wife. But if wife performs, her spiritual deeds are not transferred. It remains with her herself. But like how Shilpaji said, that she can engage. So that is a different thing. But like if husband do anything good, then it's just automatically transferred 50% of it.
To the
She receives
wife.
the 50, yeah, she receives the 50%, the
That's
wife.
why she's
If
called
the husband does.
Ardhangani, right?
Ardhangini, yes.
Ardhangani.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But if wife performs, then the deeds are not transferred, but like how she can give the prasadam and she can engage family. So yeah, in that point, yes, like you can make the family devotee, but the spiritual deeds are not transferred. The results are
Yeah,
not
actually, we
transferred.
had read, no? Yeah.
We have read
Yes.
this before.
We read
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So certainly the husband gets a lot of benefit. Yeah, thank you, Neha, for a much clearer explanation. He certainly gets benefit by having a wife who's Krishna conscious. Yeah. Okay, Akshay Tritiya. Today is the
Yes.
auspicious day of Akshay Tritiya. Greatest gift we can offer is spiritual knowledge. So please share the online database with as many people as you can. So this is, yeah, happy Akshay Tritiya to everyone.
Happy Akshaya Tritiya.
Chapter 7, the descendants of King Mandhata. In this chapter, the descendants of King Mandhata are described, and in this connection, the histories of Purukutsa and Harishchandra are also given. The most prominent son of Mandhata was Ambarish. His son was Yovanashva, and Yovanashva's son was Harita. These three personalities were the best in the dynasty of Mandhata. Purukutsa, another son of Mandhata, married the sister of the snakes, Sarpagana, named Narmada. The son of Purukutsa was Trasadasyu, whose son was Anaranya, and Anaranya's son was Aryashva. Aryashva's son was Praruna, Praruna's son was Tribandana, and Tribandana's son was Satyavrat, also known as Trishanku. When Trishanku kidnapped the daughter of a Brahmana, his father cursed him for this sinful act, and Trishanku became a Chandala, worse than a Shudra. Later, by the influence of Vishwamitra, he was brought to the heavenly planets. But by the influence of the demigods, he fell back downward. He was stopped in his downfall, however, by the influence of Vishwamitra. The son of Trishanku was Harishchandra. Harishchandra once performed a Rajasuya Yagya, but Vishwamitra cunningly took all of Harishchandra's possessions as a Dakshina contribution and chastised Harishchandra in various ways. Because of this, a quarrel arose between Vishwamitra and Vashishta. Harishchandra had no sons, but on the advice of Narad, he worshipped Varuna, and in this way he got a son named Rohit. Harishchandra promised that Rohit would be used to perform a Varuna Yagya. Varun, Varuna reminded Harishchandra repeatedly about this yagya, but the king, because of affection for his son, gave various arguments to avoid sacrificing him. Thus time passed, and gradually the son grew up. To safeguard his life, the boy then took bow and arrows in hand and went to the forest. Meanwhile, at home, Harishchandra suffered from dropsy because of attack from Varuna. When Rohit received the news that his father was suffering, he wanted to return to the capital, but King Indra prevented him from doing so. Following the instructions of Indra, Rohit lived in the forest for 6 years and then returned home. Rohit purchased Shunashepa, the, the second son of Ajigartha, and gave him to his father Harishchandra as the sacrificial animal. In this way, the sacrifice was performed. Varuna and the other demigods were pacified, and Harishchandra was freed from disease. In this sacrifice, Vishwamitra was the Hota priest, Jamadagni was the Advaryu, Vashishta was the Brahma, and Ayasya was the Udgata. King Indra, being very satisfied by the sacrifice, gave Harishchandra a golden chariot, and Vishwamitra gave him transcendental knowledge. Thus, Sukadev Goswami describes how Harishchandra achieved perfection. So, this was just a summary, and then now we are going to read in detail because there was such a lot of names. And So we are going to read in detail now. Text-wise, Shri Shukavacha,
Shri
Shri
Shuka Uvacha
Mandhatu Putra Pravaro,
Manidhatu
Mandatu
Putra Parabharo
Yo Ambarisha Prakirtita,
Yo
यो
Amvarisha
अम्बरीष
Prakirtita
प्रकीर्तितः
Pitamahena Pravrato,
Pitamahena
येन
Pravruto
प्रवर्तो
Yovanashvastu Tatsuta,
Yovanashvastu Tatsutaha
तत्सुतः
Haritastasya Putro Bhun,
Haritasya
तस्य
Putro
पुत्रो भूम्
Mandhatra Pravara Ime.
Mandhatra
धात्र प्रवरा
Pravarai.
इमे
Sukadev Goswami said, the most prominent among the sons of Mandata was he who is celebrated as Ambarish. Ambarish was accepted as son by his grandfather Yuvanashva. Ambarish's son was Yuvanashva and Yuvanashva's son was Harita. In Mandata's dynasty, Ambarish, Harita and Yuvanashva were very prominent. So this is another Ambarish. He is the son of Mandata. Mandata is he celebrated. So Ambarish was accepted as son by his grandfather, Yuvanashva. So Mandata's father, Yuvanashva. Actually, Yuvanashva was grandfather, but he took Ambarish as his son, right? As
Yeah.
son by his grandfather. Okay. And then Ambarish had a son. Also, he named him Yuvanashva after his grandfather. You know, sometimes we may have same names, keep same names as grandfather, like that. So Ambarish's son is also called Yuvanashva, and Yuvanashva's son is Harita. So in Mandata's dynasty, Ambarish, Harita, and Yuvanashva were very prominent. Okay, lot of names, but yeah. Narmada Bhratrubhi Datta,
Narmada
Narmada
भ्रातृभिः
Datta
दत्त
Bhratribhakta
Purukutsaya Yorage,
Puru Kutsaya
कुत्सायोरगे
Yoge
Taya Rasa Talham Nito,
Taya Rasatalam Nito
Bhuja Gendra Prayuktaya.
Bhujagendra
Bhujagendra
Prayukaya
Prayukaya
The serpent brothers of Narmada gave Narmada to Purukutsa. Being sent by Vasuki, she took Purukutsa to the lower region of the universe. The serpent brothers of Narmada. Okay, before describing the descendants of Purukutsa, the son of Mandata, Sukadev Goswami first describes how Purukutsa was married to Narmada, who was induced to take him to the lower region of the universe. So Purukutsa is a son of Mandata and he is married to Narmada. The, the snakes, right? Being sent by Vasuki, she took Purusukta to lower region of the universe. Okay. Gandharvan avati tatra
Garvadhan
Gandharvan
Avati
Avati
Tatra
Tatra
vadhyan vai Vishnu Shakti Drik
Vadhyan Vishnu Shakti Dre
Nagalabdha Vara Sarpad
Nagad
Nagalabdha
Labdhavara
Vara
Sarpat
Sarvad
Abhayam Smaratam Idam.
Abhayam
Abhayam Smara Tam
Samsmritam
Idam
Idam.
There in Rasatal, the lower region of the universe, Purukutsa, being empowered by Lord Vishnu, was able to kill all the Gandharvas who deserved to be killed. Purukutsa received the benediction from the serpents that anyone who remembers this history of his being brought by Narmada to the lower region of the universe will be assured of safety from the attack of snakes. So here, just by remembering that Narmada, she brought Purukutsa to, to the lower planets. And over there, in Rasatal, he killed the Gandharvas who were to be killed. And the serpents, because he's saved the serpents, so the serpents are giving him a benediction that whoever remembers this will be assured of safety from the attack of snakes. So the snakes won't attack such a person who remembers this story, this narration. Okay. So we can see over here, because one may think, oh, why are we hearing this? But then here we can be assured that the snakes won't attack. Trasadasyu
Trasadasyuporukutso
yo naran yasya deha krit
yo aranyasya dehakrit
haryashvastatsuttastasmat
haryashvastatsutta tasmat
prarunotha tribandana.
prarunah atha tribandhanah.
The son of Purukutsa was Trasadasyu, who was the father of Aranya. Aranya's son was Haryashva, the father of Praruna. Praruna was the father of Tribandana. So Purukutsa's family is being described. His son, what's his son? Snake?
Tradasyu,
Trasadasyu, yeah.
Tresadasyu,
And his son?
Anaranya,
And his son?
Haryashva,
Yeah. And his son?
Prarun.
Triband,
Prarun.
Prarun,
Yeah,
Prarun,
Prarun. And his son?
Tribandhan.
Tribandha,
Tribandhan. Yeah. Okay. Tasya Satyavrata Putras
Tasya
Tasya
Satravrataha
Satyavrata
Putras,
Putras
Trishankuriti Vishruta
Trishankuriti
Trishakuriti
Vishnaha,
Shruta
Praptas Chanda Latam Shapat
Praptaschandalatam
Praptaschandalatam
Shapa,
Shapas
Guru Kaushika Tejasa
Guru Kaushikate Jasa,
Jasa
Sashariro Gata Swargam
Sashariro Gata
Sashariyogata
Swargam,
Swargam
Adyapi Dividrishyate
Adhyapi Divi Drishyate,
Adhyate
Patito Vakshira Deves
Patito
Patito
Vakashira,
Vakshira Devis
Tenevastambito Balan.
Tena
Tene
Stambita
Stambito
Balat,
The son of Tribandana was Satyavrata, who is celebrated by the name Trishanku. Because he kidnapped the daughter of a Brahmana when she was being married, his father cursed him to become a Chandala, lower than a Shudra. Thereafter, by the influence of Vishwamitra, he went to the higher planetary system, the heavenly planets, in his material body. But because of the prowess of the demigods, he fell back downward. Nonetheless, by the power of Vishwamitra, he did not fall all the way down. Even today, he can still be seen hanging in the sky, head downward. Okay, let's read again. So, son of Tribandana was Satyavrat. Satyavrat's name, what did he become famous as? What's another name?
Trishanku.
Trishanku.
Trishanku. And then what did he do that his
He
father
kidnapped
cursed him?
He kidnapped.
Kidnapped. Yeah,
He kidnapped a daughter, a Brahmin daughter.
Brahmin daughter. Yeah, at the time that she was being married. She was being married and he's kidnapped her at that time. So he's cursed him, now you become a Chanda. And then Vishwamitra is taking him to the higher planets, heavenly planets. But the demigods didn't want him there. So he fell back downward. But I don't understand this. Vishwamitra, by the power of Vishwamitra, he did not fall all the way down. Even today, he can still be seen hanging in the sky, head downward. So he's just suspended in the sky, it seems like. He's not in any planet. And his head is down. Doesn't seem
Yeah.
very comfortable. Right? I'm just imagining that. But
So like
that's what
that is
it
the
says.
power of Vishwamitra, right?
The power of Vishwamitra, that
Yeah.
he didn't go down all the way because he was not supposed to be in the heavens, but somehow Vishwamitra took him to the heavens. The demigods didn't want him there. They were sending him back down, but Vishwamitra stopped him. But then now he's hanging in the sky, head downward. Well, this is what Sukadev Goswami is saying, so we will leave it at that without any speculation or without any, yeah, just leave it at that. And any comments, questions?
No, unclear.
Yeah, we're just hearing now like the dynasty, how it's progressing, right? We are hearing the Mandata's dynasty now. So we'll continue with it tomorrow. Bhagavatam ki jai, Shla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
jai, Hare Krishna.